Welcome back to another installment in my Million Dollar Marketing series. Today, I'm going to be covering everything that you need to know to find your $1 million audience online and how you can speak to the people within that audience who want to buy from you right now. Let's get into it. When it comes to building an audience of the most qualified people out there, you're going to want to focus on one thing, and that is your ideal customer profile. Your ideal customer profile is the one person that you want to be talking to because they are the most likely to buy from your brand. Now, when you first started your business, you probably heard that having an ICP or a customer avatar is really important for your success in business. But what I'm guessing the resource that you read left out is that they're also key to scaling your brand to 7 figures and beyond. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing not only why you still need an ICP, but how they are the secret to scaling your brand, how to make sure that your core ICP is the one that's going to make you the most money, how to expand your ICPs as your business scales from 6 to 7 figures, how to identify your hidden personas that already exist within your customer base, the key to successfully using personas in your marketing and content strategies, when you should consider creating a negative persona, how often you should be updating your ICPs, and how you can avoid common ICP pitfalls. Now, when you were originally learning about ICPs, you probably learned that you should find the one person who's the best fit for your brand and you should market to them. And maybe the advice you were given was create an avatar for that person. How much money does this person make? What is their name? Put a whole thing together to really understand this persona that you've created. But I find that a lot of that work, while it's important when you start your business, isn't the key to scaling your brand from 6 figures to 7. And so here's what I want you to keep in mind when I'm sharing everything with you today. The ICP that you have for your brand is really the best fit customer that you've worked with to date. You want to go out and find more people like those. Your best fit customer, meaning the customer who spent the most money with you, but if you're a service business, also the customer that you enjoyed working with the most. And if you're a product-based business or an e-commerce business, maybe you can translate the enjoyable to work with to least number of returns, most likely to leave a positive review. Try to find not only the best customer in terms of they spent the most with you, but the best customer as in they were the easiest to work with, or they had the least complaints, or they went and left you the most reviews, okay? So we're going to keep that in mind during our chat today. With that in mind, let's cover how ICPs will help you scale. The longer you're in business, the more data you get in terms of customer data and marketing data. And so we're going to use the data that we have in our business and combine it with our best customer. And now we are going to create our ICP. So we're going to look not only at what are the characteristics of our best customer, meaning how did they find us? Did they refer business? What were the actions they took before they became a customer? If I had a sales conversation with this person, what questions were they asking? Using HubSpot or my data analytics tool, can I see the actions that they were taking on the website in terms of what blog posts they were reading? Go now and find all of the data that you have on this customer so that you can map out that customer's unique journey and really understand their pain points and motivations. Once you have all of this information figured out for your best customer, you can now create an ICP using that customer. So we know what they cared about, why they reached out originally to buy our product or service, the questions that they had before they actually made a purchase, the marketing steps that they took with us. Once you have all of that data, you have a really strong understanding of who your ICP should be. For example, maybe you're a massage therapist, and by definition, you could help anybody really who wants a massage. But maybe when you look at all of your data, you find that work from home corporate professionals are really where it's at for you. Not only do you enjoy working with this subset of your customers, but they book with you the most, they're the easiest to work with, meaning that their cancels and reschedules are very limited, and they spend the most money with you. Because they're your best customers and they're the most enjoyable group to work with, those are your ICP. And while this knowledge alone will help you scale from 6 to 7 figures, we're going to do it even faster by implementing our understanding of your ICP in your marketing so that it resonates with this group of individuals so that you can expand your impact and income. Now, as you're scaling from 6 to 7 figures, there's a really wide revenue gap there. And so over time, you will work with enough customers where you will be able to create a secondary and maybe even even a tertiary or a third ICP as well, because your use case will expand. And so while you are close to six figures, you want to focus on as few ICPs as possible, meaning one. Once you start getting closer to that seven-figure mark, it makes sense to expand your ICPs as well. And so I want to share with you how you can find your secondary and tertiary ICPs by using your customer data. Going back to the massage therapist example, maybe your work from home corporate professionals are your core ICP. They are the most enjoyable to work with and they spend a good amount of money with you. But maybe when you're looking at your data, you find there's another group of individuals, which is the entrepreneur group. And maybe you enjoy working with this group a little bit less because of those reschedules and cancellations, but at the end of the day, they end up spending way more than your work from home corporate group. And so maybe that makes sense to start introducing them as a secondary ICP. And it makes sense here to differentiate your entrepreneur group from your work from home group because they care about different things. Your work from home clients may want you to come during lunch hour to give them a massage because they have a dedicated time every day where they are stepping away from their computer and relaxing. Whereas maybe an entrepreneur has a more flexible schedule and they want you to come on Monday mornings, or maybe they're very busy and they want late night and weekend availabilities. And so you need to learn what your ICP cares about for each group and make sure that you're speaking to these groups individually. Now, as you're getting closer to seven figures, maybe you find there's actually a third ICP that it makes sense for you to introduce into your brand. And you can see how we're doing this very systematically and methodically. Of course, as a massage therapist in this example, you could service anybody, but we don't want to do that. We want to be specialized so that the people who are most likely to buy from us feel like we're speaking directly to them, and therefore they're more likely to become a customer of yours sooner and spend more money with you. And so in this way, the more data that you get about your customers, the more successful you'll become, and your business flywheel continues to gain more and more momentum the more and more you read into your customer data. Now, I kind of touched on this a minute ago, but let's talk about using your ICPs in your marketing strategy. Using our two groups from our example earlier, our work from home corporate professionals and our entrepreneur group, we already know that they care about different things when it comes to scheduling, but it's also likely that they're getting different value out of the massage. Somebody who's a work from home corporate professional may care about feeling better in their neck and shoulders after sitting hunched over at a desk all day, where an entrepreneur maybe also feels that same neck and shoulder tension, but what they care about is showing up and performing their best because they're in sales or they're constantly on video for marketing purposes, for example, and they need to look and feel great at all times. And it's not that a corporate professional doesn't want to look and feel great, but they're just thinking about different things when they're booking a massage with you. And so when you are actually speaking to your customers face to face, you can learn what these motivations are and start using them in your marketing messaging. So in our marketing, we want to make sure that we're clearly calling out the ICP, the value prop or the pain point that we're addressing, and how they can resolve that. So we can say, hey, do you work from home and you have a lot of neck and shoulder tension after sitting at your desk all day? Here's something that you can do to relieve that tension that I've learned because I'm a massage therapist. And doesn't that feel good? If you want more of that, I can actually come to your house during your lunch hour and give you a massage so that you can relieve all of that tension and finally feel great after work. But if we were talking to our entrepreneur group, all of our messaging and callouts would be different based on what that group tells you that they care about. And because we follow the marketing ecosystem approach, we're going to use this messaging across all of the marketing that we're doing, including on our website and email communications. So you want to make sure that you're segmenting anything that you're doing for each ICP and speaking to those ICPs directly. That is why we want to systematically add one ICP at a time and do it slowly and make sure that we're giving everything enough thought and attention. We don't want to just create 10 ICPs out of the gate because then you're not speaking to anyone effectively. Now let's talk about when it makes sense to add negative personas. Negative personas are the exact opposite of your ICP. These are people you do not want to attract to your brand. For example, if you're a massage therapist and you notice that your Instagram is attracting primarily massage therapists to you instead of your ideal clients, you know that you want to add massage therapists as a negative ICP for your brand. When you see that you are attracting a lot of people who are professionals in your same industry, this is a flag to you to note that there's something off in your messaging. You're not appropriately talking to your ideal customer, because if you were, then your followers would be full of your ideal customers and you would be making a lot of sales. So when you see this happen, you need to take a solid look at what in your messaging is attracting the wrong persona to you, to make sure that you are including any sort of phrases or keywords, any sort of terminology in your negative ICP, so that you can avoid those terms in marketing that you're doing. And this actually brings up a great point, which is, when does it make sense to update your ideal customer persona? And that is really anytime that you notice that there are things to be refined. I always advise founders to make small updates over time rather than looking at updating projects as a separate standalone project. So maybe you're sitting down to write content and you realize that there are a few keywords that should be added to your negative persona list. Just add them to your negative persona. Or on the other hand, maybe you're realizing that a social post really popped off because it shared not only about neck and shoulder tension, but lower back pain as well. And this is key to you, that your ideal customer persona also cares about back pain. So you can just add that to your persona. Doing this over time will help you create a really robust profile of your best customers and clients, so that your messaging and marketing can become stronger and stronger over time, making you more and more money and making that flywheel for your business turn faster and faster. So when it comes to how often should you update your ICP, it's really as often as you have insight. You really shouldn't be sitting down and reworking your ideal customer persona that often. Now let's talk about pitfalls. These are the places where I see founders again and again go off the rails when creating their customer persona, but because you're watching this video, you're not going to make those same mistakes. When you first started your business and you were reading up on ideal customer profiles, you probably found a blog post that shared all of this in-depth information that you needed to know about your ideal customer. They may have even said, print off a photo that looks like them, give them a name, how much money do they make, where do they hang out online? And like, you had to be kind of obsessive and psycho about your ideal customer. But you really don't have to. You just need to understand who the person is, right? So if you know that work from home corporate professionals are your best customers, and you know what they care about and what their pain points are, that will get you so much further than how much money that person makes. And the next mistake that I see founders make is having a wrong or incorrect understanding of their ICP, meaning that you maybe know who your ICP is, but you don't understand why they're actually purchasing from you. And here's a real life example. As a consultant, I've worked with many companies. One had a really clear understanding of their niche ICP and the other did not. The one who understood their niche ICP had a software product that was less pretty and more technical, but they had a much easier time selling it because they knew the exact ICP that they were targeting, and that ICP felt like the company understood their needs. And so therefore, not only did they spend less on marketing, their customers moved through their marketing funnel in a lot shorter time. The other company had no idea who their ICP was. They could serve anybody from an Etsy seller all the way up to L'Oreal, and they did. And instead of using a strategy like we talked about at the start of this video and introducing one ICP methodically at a time, they're just like, heck, we're trying to make money. We're going to serve everybody. And so nobody felt like they were the solution for them. Were they trying to service people who were selling e-commerce as a hobby, or were they trying to service huge corporate clients like L'Oreal Paris? And you might be hearing this example and thinking, well, what's the harm in that? But the harm is that the smaller clients thought that the product or service offering was probably too expensive because they also worked with these huge brands, whereas the huge brands felt like, well, they probably can't meet our needs because they work with small brands. And so the feedback we were hearing from the customers is, oh, wow, I never knew that your prices were so affordable, or, oh wow, I never knew your production team could handle something at the scale that we need. And anytime you're receiving this feedback from a paying customer, just know there are hundreds, if not thousands of people who encountered your brand, had the same concern, and just moved on. They didn't become a customer because you didn't answer their questions. When you are hearing it from a customer, that is somebody who went out of their way to become a customer. And you need to take their feedback very seriously because you had some serious serious flaws in the way that you were communicating your product or service offering. With this brand, they had to spend a lot of money on advertising. The first brand spent about $50,000 in paid ads per month, where this brand was spending $300,000 to $400,000 on paid ads per month. And guess what? They weren't profitable. They were losing money every time they acquired a customer because they didn't know who their customer was. And so when I was working with these clients for the first one, I could work on making sure that we were expanding our impact and income through the marketing. Whereas the second client needed a lot of work on the ICP refinement that really should have been done in the first place. So when it comes to building and scaling your brand, taking the time to get your ICP right now is important. And so at the end of the day, the question becomes, do you want to limp along in your business, or do you want to have a business that resonates with your best fit customers and makes you a lot of money? This video is part 2 in a 14-part series helping you scale your business to 7 figures through effective marketing strategies. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss the next video in the series, and to catch up on any videos you may have missed, click right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.